I wasn't being inappropriate. No. No, he's really smart. Like, his name is Michael Fry, or his nickname is My Fry, and he went to Henry Clay's Liberal Arts Academy. Liberal Arts Academy's average ACT is a 32. That's the average. And so think about it. I mean, think about some of you guys in here have 31s who are really smart, and you'd be below average at this joint. It's really tough to get into. Anyway, the point is he was one of the smartest kids in that, and he ended up getting offers to go everywhere as a professor, and he ended up getting paid to go to Center, and now he got into some ridiculous grad school, Stanford, I think. And so he's going out there, and they just got engaged. And Caitlin is amazing. She's really talented and a great singer, a great actress. She's good at everything.
Grad school for what?
Do what?
Grad school for what?
Some sort of medical research, I think, or scientific research. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the border states. Since the North didn't start the war, the border states. What are our 4 border states we talk about? Kentucky,
Maryland.
Maryland. Well, West Virginia wasn't just because it wasn't a state yet. So Kentucky, Missouri, Maryland, and Delaware. They stayed with the Union. However, once the war officially started, 4 other states did leave. Virginia left, North Carolina left, Tennessee left, and Arkansas left. And so everyone this way makes up the Confederacy, right? 11 states make up the Confederacy. But the border states are particularly important because why are the border states so important? What makes them so important?
They kind of act like a buffer between the North and the South.
Yeah, they are, but there's something that's more strategically important also in terms of population. Where's the most white population of the South?
Border states.
Border states. Because the South, the deeper South, has a much higher percentage of black people, right? And obviously black people in the South almost were entirely slave. Few were free, but... So the South's population was radically diminished because of the border states. And then you talk about the fact that it was a strategic advantage militarily because they could already occupy these areas. Lincoln went to some pretty ridiculous lengths to make sure the border states stayed in the Union. And some of them are not constitutional, but he didn't really care. His argument was, I have to bend the Constitution because if I don't, then it will break. Does that make sense? If I don't bend the Constitution, then our country will fall apart. It's better to bend it than let our country fall apart. In fact, Lincoln was famously said that he hoped to have God on his side, but he had to have Kentucky. Kentucky is probably strategically the most important state in the Civil War. Because once Kentucky was occupied, they could have a direct assault into the South, which is what's going to end up happening. Had this war been fought 100 times, the North would have won probably 99.5 of them. In fact, the North should have won faster, I would argue, than they did. Lincoln wanted to, and I'll talk about this in the border states, Lincoln wanted to preserve the Union before anything else. He did not go into this war trying to end slavery, okay? He did not. He went into this war trying to preserve the Union. In fact, he told Horace Greeley, my paramount objective is to save the Union. And it's not either to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. If I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. It was about keeping the Union together. Now, as the war goes on, it becomes a bigger moral issue. But it was about keeping the Union together. And for many people, like we saw some of the private evidence, right? Where, did Northerners think that blacks were equal? No. So people from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, right? Some Pennsylvania, Iowa, these people were not feared. Many of them were not, some were, but many of them were not radical abolitionists, right? They were fighting because somebody attacked their country. And had Lincoln made it about slavery and not about them being attacked, they might not have fought. In fact, when Lincoln finally does make it about slavery, when he issues the Emancipation Proclamation, a whole bunch of people desert. They leave. They're like, that's not why I'm fighting this war. Let's go home. So, what about Indian Territory? Do you think they would stay with the North or the South?
South.
Yeah, they actually sided with the South. Why do you think that is?
Because the South is in a Union right
Yeah, the Northern government was more aggressive than the Southern government, right? the Confederacy itself is not about expansion. What's the Confederacy about?
Southern rights.
Yeah, it's states' rights stuff, right? In fact, it was hysterical. Jefferson Davis was the president of the South. Where did he go to college, by the way, originally? Transient, but he couldn't hack it and he went to West Point. Eventually, the capital moved to Richmond, and Davis was president there, but Davis did not have much power. Presidents of confederacies don't have much power. Remember from government economics, who has all the power in a confederacy? States are regional governments too, right? In fact, Georgia almost left the Confederacy at one point. Georgia did not want their people fighting outside of the state of Georgia. Many states did not want to share their troops with other states. That's how fiercely state-focused they were. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's talk about some of the assets for the Confederacy. Well, number one, where was most of the Civil War fought? North or South?
South.
So from that perspective, they're fighting on their home turf. Why would it be important? Why would that be an asset fighting on your home land? Do what? Okay, so there's an advantage. You are more familiar with it. What else? Do you think you fight harder if you're fighting near your house?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right? If you feel like you're having to defend your house and defend your family, you're going to fight much more fiercely. The North had to actually come in the South, conquer it, and occupy it. All the South had to do was not lose. What does it sound like, by the way, these assets versus... Well, the Revolutionary War. But what's one advantage the North had that Britain didn't have? Yeah, England was way over there. The North is right around here, right? It took 3 months to get from England to the New World, to colonies. We have trains now, right? It ain't gonna take that long. So, and there's telegraphs. I mean, there are obviously different advantages. The South also felt they had the moral side. God was on their side. They were fighting for their freedom. In fact, in the South today, many old school conservative Southern Dixiecrat types don't call it the Civil War. You know what they call it? The War of Northern Aggression.
It's like the Mexican War.
It's the War of Northern Aggression. Another big advantage they had was they had better officers. They just had better generals. Corey Sayer, PhD, MD, JD. Yeah, I'm really busy. Okay. Okay. You guys right. All right. Who was arguably the best general during this war? Robert Lee, right? In fact, many, and I don't know much about, openly, I don't know much about military history. This is not my thing. But people who it is their thing have said that he's probably one of the 3 or 4 best generals we've ever had in our country's history. No, I don't watch the History Channel. I know it sounds ridiculous that as a history teacher and a history major, getting a master's in history, that I watch the History Channel, but I hate the History Channel.
Why? It's ridiculous.
Lower into his class at West Point.
Oh yeah.
And Robert.
Yeah, but I will also say that where you finish in your class doesn't always merit that, right? But the history, I don't love the History Channel. One, because all they ever talk about war, right? When they do talk about history, they talk about war, and they have weird shows too, like that have nothing to do with history.
UFO catchers.
Yeah.
Ice truck.
Really, in America, isn't it on the History Channel?
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. Like, if you have a really weird family and you're a freak, you get paid to get looked at anymore, right? Like the Duck Dynasty people, I've seen the show for like 30 seconds. But it's really popular, right? Or like Honey Boo Boo, right? Their family's a train wreck and they got money, right? They get paid to be looked at and made fun of. Do what?
Stupid. I don't like Honey Boo Boo at all.
I saw it twice just because my kids were talking about it, and it's like a car wreck. It's awful, but you kind of slow down to look at
Like
it.
you can't stop watching.
Yeah, and you keep thinking, how fat is Honey Boo Boo gonna eventually get? 800, 900 pounds.
Their family dressed up like the Kardashians.
I saw that.
But I will say this, and my wife, I was saying, my wife thinks I'm biased against unhealthy people, and I don't know if that is true or not.
Yeah. A little bit.
Has that come out?
Yes. A little bit.
My wife thinks that I am, and she thinks I'm a Nazi with my kids, what they eat. You should see what I pack my kids' lunch. But my wife pointed out that the parents seem to like each other. They seem to be nice to their kids. They don't hit their kids. They like their kids a lot.
They're smart about their
They don't live outside their means.
Yeah,
They're making a
they
ton of
put all
money.
the money that they get from the show into their children's college fund.
So, you know what? There's a lot worse people out there. I mean, they are a train wreck to look at, but there are worse people. You could do worse than being raised in that house. You're gonna die at 50 from a heart attack, but there is
Shows
worse.
are obviously scripted too. They're
Or
so
from
very
slipping
obviously
on butter.
scripted.
Well, you know what though? We've all become more scripted. Here's what I mean by that. I listened to someone's argument because all these things they're not as. I mean, they put them in situations and then let them act it out, and they edit it. So all of it's edited, right? Like the Catfish show. You ever seen that Catfish show?
Yeah.
How edited that is? How dumb those people are. But we edit ourselves. Like my wife loves Facebook, right? Like every 35-year-old white woman does, and people complain. Like the other people complain, but. You know, God, all the pictures and all the fun the family's having, and she posts every time we go to the pumpkin patch, or we do this, we have family, we do that as a family, it's all real cute. And it looks like all the Sayers do is great stuff, right? Wow, they go from pumpkin patch to Halloween party to this party to that party, right? You don't put on Facebook, right? Cleaning the dishes, right? Stomach hurts, keep throwing up, right? No one puts pictures of that. All you see is pictures of other stuff. So
Selfie.
your selfie of
Selfie on the
of dysentery. No one has that, right? So
got dysentery.
So what do the pictures show? How cool our life is. It's the same thing, right? We edit our lives. You guys, I've seen this. When I got on Facebook only because I lost myself. I got stolen in Falling Springs, and all my former students' numbers that I have. So I got on Facebook, and a bunch of them I used to keep up with gave me their number, and people would and my wife likes Instagram, and she's on all these things, and Twitter, and people don't even have fun anymore. They stop having fun to let everyone else know what their fun looks like, and then get back into having some more fun. And then the fun becoming showing other people that you're having fun. Why not just have fun, and then if someone asks about it and they care enough, then you can tell them.
You post pictures so people can be jinxed. I hear that.
That's what I'm saying. But there are people whose lives are horrible that have pictures of yes, hanging out with this guy. Things are good for me, right? In reality, they, live in a van down by the river. So,
Hey.